If I have anything to say before this video, it's be aggressive. Be aggressive. Guys, Arrow here, and I just watched Fired Up as research for an upcoming video. And now I'm here to talk about it because I have many thoughts. To start off, Fired Up is a comedy from 2009 directed by Will Gluck about two high school jocks from the football team discovering their love for cheerleading after ditching football camp for cheerleading camp. Now, why did I watch a movie from 2009 about boy cheerleaders? Well, I just so happened to be a boy and a cheerleader. So I wanted to see how the representation of cheerleading as a man held up. And the answer is not great. The movie opens on the two main characters, Nick and Sean, making out with two girls a few feet away from each other. Obviously, since this movie is an adult comedy, there are going to be scenes like this, but for the sake of time and for my own asexual sanity, I'm going to skip over those scenes unless they are important to the plot. They escape from the girls' dads when they show up and are established as athletic football players through actions and dialogue, rather than just dialogue, already shaping up to be better than zombies. After that, they go to school, where they're told that football camp will be held in El Paso, Texas. They lament going while at a beach party where they meet Carly, the head cheerleader, and learn about cheerleading camp. That's when they decide to go in order to get out of the misery of football camp and hook up with the 300-something girls at that camp. Side note, 300 girls is crazy. Like, where I am, we do have cheerleading camps, and we usually only get like 30 girls. It's crazy. At cheerleading camp, they get their own bunk rooms. These bunk rooms are where we meet the four other main male cheerleaders at the camp. One's name is Brewster, and he's the very stereotypical effeminate gay man with OCD and a problem with oversharing. The other one is Adam, whose only personality trait is being serious about cheerleading and who only has like 3 lines. Then there's Eagle, who never speaks, never takes the mascot suit off, and only shows up twice in this movie. Finally, we have Downey, who likes beer, football, and Xbox, apparently. No, Downey doesn't get any character development until the end. His traits are that he seems like he has the same plan as Nick and Sean, but he's actually just serious about cheerleading, which was Adam's thing. And I think that's the entire roster of named male cheerleaders. There are some unnamed extras here and there, but you know I will never count those as representation. We learn about a move in stunting called the Fountain of Troy, a real move in cheerleading. However, this movie paints it as a skill so dangerous that they won't even teach it at camp, which begs the question, why the fuck was it done at Worlds? Sean ends up falling in love with Carly, despite his original plan to just hook up with the girls at the camp. Carly's boyfriend, Rick, is revealed to be cheating on her. Then, Nick and Sean see how most cheerleaders regard their team. I'll probably bring it up in more detail later, but long story short, as cheerleaders, if we feel like the routine or our team sucks, we will absolutely let you know. So this is very realistic, especially when all of the girls come together and start saying, we just suck, or we're just not good enough. That's how we talk. It's not great, but hey, it's realistic. What more can you get? Then, because we need a conflict in this story, Rick shows up to tell the girls that Nick and Sean were planning to leave camp on a bus a few days before the competition. This infuriates Carly, who tells them to leave. While I was watching this scene, I was wondering, why doesn't Sean just reveal that Rick was cheating on Carly? And I can't stop thinking about why he didn't. His ship was already sinking, might as well take Rick down with him. But instead, Nick and Sean just leave. They catch a bus out of camp and just leave. Nick gains empathy, literally saying, "I'm a person!" so that the stupid audience knows that their characters have developed. The rest of the movie is just the competition happening, with the Panthers doing a surprisingly good routine that, if I was the judge, I'd likely give a high score. Though, like every cheer movie, the judges seem biased as hell with the way they talk about the teams. The Tigers' routine starts, and Carly sees Rick cheating on her with the captain of the Panthers while she is flying. Because of this, And because Sean has no idea what the hell a safety is, they decide to change the choreography mid-routine and do the Fountain of Troy. They land the trick successfully, but Sean goes off of the mat because he tucked at the edge of the floor when he was just supposed to do a double back handspring, landing face first into the water. The Tigers end up getting 19th place, surprisingly not making it to state. Even better is the fact they mentioned that the judges deducted for the Fountain of Troy, which is a real thing that happens when athletes do things out of their assigned level. Though I don't think they would have actually made top 3 without the safety deduction, like Carly said. This was because of Sean falling off the mat. For those who don't know, we actually get deducted for that, and it's quite a steep deduction. Anyways, the movie ends with Carly getting with Sean, the Panthers coming to rub their win in only for one of them to get absolutely clocked by Bianca, and our main characters walking away into a credit sequence. And that was the shortest rundown I could give on this movie's plot. That being said, I did not mention a lot of plot lines in my summary. I wanted to keep it short. I didn't mention the lesbian plotline, the jock house party, the lake scene, the Downey reveal. There were a lot of little jokes and arcs that I couldn't include. So I'd recommend you actually watch the movie yourself. If you're old enough, of course. Now, why did I make this video? If I just wanted to tear on a 16-year-old movie, I could have just written a review for it on IMDb. But I want to go a little deeper. I want to examine how this movie represents my experience as a male cheerleader. Or, if I can put it more accurately, how it doesn't represent my experience. To start off, the male cheerleader characters that we actually get in the movie, other than Nick and Sean, are just static, flat, non-dynamic characters based off of stereotypes or singular character traits. We've got Brewster, who's the effeminate gay one. We've got Adam, who's the serious one. But wait, Downey is also the serious one, but he's also the gay one? And then we've got Eagle, who's just there in 2 scenes and nowhere else. That is the level of representation you are going to get if you go into this movie about male cheerleaders looking for representation on male cheerleaders. And to be fair, Nick and Sean are alright representations of male cheerleaders, but they're actually more driven by romance than love of cheering, even after they've gone through their character arcs, and even after they stopped considering cheering as this fling of a sport where they can just pull girls. There's an underlying message in the movie that can basically be summarized as take cheerleading seriously. Cheerleading is a hard sport. It's not just for girls, and it's not easy work. However, we're never actually shown that in the movie. Basically, Nick and Sean can do everything that's asked of them immediately. They don't have to learn, they don't have to struggle, and they barely have to practice before they're throwing fulls and throwing tucks and throwing what's supposed to be the hardest stunt in all of cheerleading. It just seems infantilizing. It's the same effect that Zombies has, where it feels like everyone can just go into cheerleading and immediately excel. No, this takes years of practice, and Nick and Sean were just able to do it in a few weeks. Hell, they were tumbling before they even went to the cheer camp. That's how easy cheerleading is, I guess. But above that, I came into this movie with an expectation. An expectation that they would at least discuss some of the troubles and scrutiny that male cheerleaders face. I was so disappointed when I actually watched the movie And I saw that that discussion was nowhere to be found, even if they did cover some serious topics, such as the relentless rivalries that go on within cheerleading and the body image issues that cheerleading perpetuates. There's no room for the male cheerleader discourse to breathe. There's no discussion of the things that we're called, of what is expected of us, of how our coaches treat us, of how society treats us, of how our actual experiences are. There's just nothing in a movie where I expected there to be at least a mention. I'm just disappointed. That's why I made this video. I'm just disappointed with Fired Up. Sure, it's a comedy, but it can also handle serious topics. We know that. And I expected it to. And I was lied to. And now I'm just sad. Because I know that I'll never get that representation that I'm looking for. Not in the movie Zombies, not in the movie Fired Up, not in any movie coming in the next few years. Unless I change it, or unless people come out with their stories, or unless our stories are taken seriously for once. But I don't see that happening for a long time. But despite my gripes with this movie, and despite my hopelessness at realizing that I will not be getting the representation of my struggles anytime soon, was this movie a good movie about cheerleading? Surprisingly, the answer is yes. I was pleasantly surprised by some of the plot lines that I saw in this movie where cheerleading stuff was actually portrayed pretty accurately. I saw stuff in some of the scenes in this movie that I've seen with my own eyes, and I experienced stuff in this movie that I experienced in my actual real life. Namely, I want to talk about the scene where the Tigers are in the gym practicing and Angela falls. After she picks herself back up, she says something along the lines of, "It's fine, I'm just not good." And then another cheerleader chimes in saying, "It's fine, we're all not good." And then the rest of the team starts mumbling amongst themselves, saying, "Yeah, we're not good. Yeah, we suck. Yeah, we don't have skill. Yeah, we don't have athleticism." And while this might be a little jarring to audience members who are from different sports that have a lot of emphasis on team pride, this is actually how we talk as cheerleaders. If we don't like the state of our team, we're gonna make it known. This is both a pro and a con, as negativity is a very rampant issue with cheerleading, especially with rumors and stuff like that, but it's accurate, so props to you, movie. Another topic that the movie covers is the topic of body image issues in cheerleading, which is a very upsetting topic, but one that is so prominent in the cheerleading spaces that it's really hard to make a movie about it without at least mentioning it. And I think this movie does a pretty good job at subtly mentioning it. When the Tigers are asked what the Panthers have that the Tigers don't have, the cheerleaders say a mix of things, but mainly I want to point out that one of the cheerleaders says laser hair removal. And another cheerleader says something that I really can't say, or else I would get destroyed by YouTube. But just go watch the movie. Anyways, the laser hair removal comment is really interesting to me because it brings up the fact that, well, it's considerably harder for you to be a good cheerleader if you don't fit this mold of attraction that people have made for you. Now, I'm not saying that it's impossible for people to be a cheerleader and do good without having laser hair removal or without having long brunette hair with blue eyes. I'm not the prettiest out there, so I can definitely say that. However, there's no denying that it helps, or that people think it helps. And the way that this movie incorporates the body image issues in that comment and multiple other comments throughout the movie It seems like they do have a grasp on what this sport does to young women, which is to say, it's negative, and the movie treats it as negative or as a jab at cheerleading as a whole, which I respect. One thing I want to note before I end this video is that I really liked the ending of this movie. It felt funny, realistic, and captivating all at the same time. I really liked how the Tigers came in 19th, so far from getting to state, because that's just how cheerleading is. You give it your all, you do your best routine, and yet there's always someone better than you, and all you can do is strive to beat them next year. I also really liked that the Panthers, after seeing that their rivalry has become violent, immediately go back and say, whoa, we're not that serious about this. Cheerleading doesn't mean that much to me. It's actually surprisingly realistic. My team has rivalries with a lot of different teams on high schools, but some of my best friends are on those teams, and yes, we still do banter with each other, but we never take it seriously. We love each other. And I guess that's just what makes me really like this ending. It almost redeems the movie for me. So, from the bottom of my heart, I'd say you should watch this movie, at least to just have the experience of taking in the ending. It's not very long, it's free on Tubi where I watched it, and it's interesting, to say the least. Seriously, I'd recommend it, even if it does get uncomfortable at some points. And that's another video under my belt. I'm honestly really glad that I can watch movies like this and then talk about them in my videos, because I have a lot of thoughts on how my sport is represented in media and how people like me are represented in media. As always, if you'd like to see more of my videos, I'd recommend hitting the subscribe button. However, if you don't want to hit subscribe or you're already a subscriber, I'd recommend just leaving a like down on the bottom of the video, or maybe commenting your thoughts on the movie in the comments below. It really helps the algorithm push my videos, and if the algorithm pushes my videos, I can make more videos. But enough of that. Have a good day, and have a good meal. This has been Aero.